Dude, YouTube, what is up, man? It has been way too long, but been busy per usual. Life right now is working and family. A lot of you guys know how that is. And so I have been sitting on some footage though. I do still get out when I can. And so I've got a couple videos that I've been sitting on, and I'm finally like, man, I gotta get out here and knock these out and do some editing. And that's exactly what is going down right now. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope you guys all had a good summer, and we're getting into fall, man. As you can see, I'm all hoodied up right now, toboggan, and it's way too early for that, man. Like it's almost like it went to winter overnight where I live, which that's just Indiana for you, man. You just never know how things are gonna go in that regard. But yeah, man. Today though, this video is all about the rat, and this rat specifically, man. So the bait maker on this bad boy is CL8 Baits. You can find them on Tackle Warehouse, and that rat comes in right around 20 bucks if I remember right, and it weighs about an ounce, so it's not a huge bait, but it's definitely a little bit bigger than your conventional tackle. But I've talked about it on the channel, man. So a couple years ago, I got the rat fever. A couple years ago, I picked up a cheaper, it was a Berkley rat at a Dick's on sale for like 10 bucks. Didn't really think, too much was going to happen out of it, but I ended up having an incredible summer catching big fish on that bait. And so I got hooked. I picked up a little bit nicer of the rat with the CL8, and I honestly really, really like the bait, man. It's well made. It's definitely been a fish catcher. So we're gonna dive into this footage. This is over two different fishing trips. One's on my boat, and then the next one we're gonna dive into is just down the street at a pond. And we'll go ahead and break those up, and I'll talk about them. So in the first one, it's on my boat, and I remember this was back in like late summer, getting into that early fall, that transition period, and I pretty much kept this thing locked in my hands all day, which was a challenge for me because typically when it comes to the bigger baits, I have trouble doing that. And so I did it though that day, and it paid off, man. I caught a couple pretty nice fish, and what was really cool, man, as you'll see in a minute here on the footage, is I got into this little area, and I started getting bit and catching fish like kind of in the same spot, and it was really close to my boat, man. And I was just blown away by that, just because I don't have tons of experience anyway with like the bigger, swim bait, wake baits. And so, these dudes were just hitting my bait right by the boat, which, top water, half the, awesomeness of it is like the visible, the visual that you get. And so these bass are just blowing up right next to me. And you'll see at the end of the clip too, I'll show it. I missed probably the biggest fish that I could have caught. But yeah, I ran into a couple nice fish, and let's go ahead and check that footage out right now. On the rat, baby. That's 17. All right, nice. Just under 3 pounds. That's 2 casts in a row on the rat, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I don't have my net today. That's an awesome job by me. Golly. Wow. That was awesome. That was actually a really close cast of the boat. Really, he hit that really close to the boat. That was awesome. A little bit, maybe Pretty close to the last one. All right, this one is 18, a little bit bigger than the last one. Probably, I'd say this one's probably around 3 pounds. We're not gonna weigh him though. Awesome. Dude, monster just came up and hit this thing and missed it. Dude, I'm casting this like right next to the boat, and these fish are coming up and swinging at this. Dude, that's freaking nuts. Awesome time on the water that day. Even though if you don't catch a bunch of fish, man, it's true. If you use the bigger baits and you just catch a couple decent, nicer fish, it's pretty rewarding, man. It's just as fun as like going out there and just slamming small fish all day, in my opinion, man. That big bait, man, it gives you it's a different bite. It's a different feel. You just have to, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you should find out because it's really fun. So this next footage, man, is at the pond down the street. But the difference here is I show you guys that in this little clip that you can catch smaller fish on the bigger bait. And keep in mind, I know big is different from person to person, but for me, an ounce bait, you know, the rat's pretty long with the tail. You know, you're talking like 7+ inches. You know, that's a big bait for me, man. So I ran into some smaller fish at the pond, and they were not afraid, man. I got out here and got on a pretty good little bite, and we'll check that out real quick. Oh, man. Not exactly what we're looking for on the rat, but hey, it's a ratfish nonetheless. Man, number 2 on the rat, another small one. First time this has happened, kind of cool though. And you can see that the small fish are not afraid to hit a bigger bait. Another one, this is number 3 on the rat, dude. In like 10 minutes, they just basically turned on right at the edge of dark. Is he nicer? Man, a little bit, but yo. Oh yeah. That was awesome, man. I did something really different. I've never done that before. Probably saw that on camera how I was working that rat. I was just like popping it. No retrieve, no reel whatsoever. And man, this thing is still producing, and we are getting bigger finally. Not a giant, but this is definitely the biggest. Oh, he popped off. Quick release. The difference in these two scenarios here was in the first footage on my boat, I was throwing it on my swim bait rod, which is rated 1 to 5 ounces. Okay, and this bait is 1 ounce, so it's on the lower end of that rod. It's a medium heavy moderate. It's the Dobbins Fury 795, I believe. And so it's a swim bait rod, so it's not a broomstick, but it's still, you know, still got a little bit of backbone on it. In the second video at the pond, I was throwing it on a medium heavy, just a conventional, I think it's a 7.2, 7.3 medium heavy. And so I didn't miss any fish on that setup because it was just way more limber, and that was better for the treble hooks. I did miss a couple fish on the first trip that I showed. Maybe because, you know, like I said, there's a little bit more backbone in that swim bait rod. So the hooks that come with this bait, the CL8 rat bait here, are pretty small. And so I'm thinking if I do it on the swim bait rod, maybe, you know, might have to upgrade the hooks, get a little bit more of a beefy hook setup. But yeah, man, if you guys have experience with that, you know, drop that in the comments. Like, because you see what I'm saying, like you could go one way or the other. And I didn't mention the medium heavy rod, the it was rated to baits up to an ounce, and so I'm throwing the max on that rod with the rat, and then the very least on the swim bait rod, the 1 to 5 ounce. And so yeah, it was just kind of cool experimenting with really the extreme on both ends of that setup. I caught fish on both. I will say that I think I like just the way it casted better on the swim bait rod. I think because you know it truly is like getting into that entry side of bigger baits, and I think I was, you know, throwing it just more comfortably, and I was just really, I don't know, I got, by the end of the day with how much I threw it, I was pretty comfortable with like putting that bait where I wanted it to go. The medium heavy felt, it definitely felt like I was tossing, you know, a bigger bait. You know, but you can get away with that. You just have to change the way you cast, do like more of that lob cast style, but you probably can't be as accurate. So kind of a, just have to weigh out the pros and the cons. But anyways, if you guys are checking this out, man, thank you. It's been forever since I've uploaded. And yeah, man, got some more footage that I'm sitting on a recent fall trip that we went on, and got on some decent fish out there. So I'll be uploading that soon. But anyways, guys, hope you all doing well out there. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys later.